Next Best Picture. Very excited to be speaking with all the cast and crew of the Superboys of Malegaon today. I want to start with the director, Reema Kagti. Reema, there is so much that goes into the making of any film, and I can only imagine the stories that you must have heard about the making of Nasir's films and prepping for this movie. Was there anything that you really loved about the making of these films that you maybe had to cut from the final version of Superboys?
Well, there's always deleted scenes, and the ones that you like, especially visually or for other reasons, dropping them is a bit heartbreaking. But in the end, you've got to do what's better for the film and what's working for the film as a whole. So yeah, there were some deleted scenes that I really, really miss. But I'm pretty sure that the decision to drop them was the right one.
I can imagine. And for Varun, I'm curious how your collaboration with Reema on the screenplay worked. How many people did you speak to about the making of these films in your preparation?
A lot of people, because as you can see in the film, there are many characters, and almost all of them are real. A couple of them we, like Shafiq, we lost a few years ago. So Shafiq is, not there anymore, so we couldn't interview him. But almost every other character you see, I met them personally, I interviewed them, we had very extensive research on their lives. In fact, in a film, you can't put all the stories, but we had the life stories of every character you see in the film, including some minor characters, including the tea shop guy who bursts into the room and trying to, and auditions for something. That guy also we met. So we had very, very big research, and it took roughly 2 years to get the final script, the shooting draft. And Reema and Zoya both were very available for feedback, for constant rounds of rewrite. So I wrote a draft, I sent it to them. They would send like very detailed feedbacks. We would have long calls, long fights also on many, many things. What we didn't agree on, that this is what you want and this is what I want, and those kind of things. So the natural process of the filmmaking jungle, where animals fight and then negotiate and then eventually arrive at some consensus that we have to cohabit in this space. So yeah.
Of course. I want to next ask Shashank. Your character in this film, ages 7 years over the course of a time jump where we don't see any progress, and also becomes, by the end, deathly ill. So while acknowledging the work of the hair and makeup teams that maybe gave you some help for the second part of the film, what kind of work as an actor did you do to get to the place so physically frail in the second half?
It's just a mixture of observing physicality of people who go through that, and I'm familiar with a few people who have gone through chemotherapy and who have, got cancer. So it's a mixture of observing people within that physicality, and a mixture of trying to create the emotional life that he comes with. And so I think the combination of those gives you the illusion of the character is what it is. So for me, it's mostly trying to observe or break into sections this character and his physicality, and it's before he falls unwell and afterwards, so I can have an arc for myself. And it's a mixture of observation and craft work, which gets you there.
It's beautiful. Finally, Nasir, this is a movie about you and your life and the life of people you knew. What has it been like to go back to that period of your life and to see the response that audiences are having to your story?
आपके लिए कैसा रहा है वापस जाने के लिए और देखने के लिए आपकी ज़िंदगी, और ऑडियंसेस ने कैसे रिस्पॉन्ड किया है इस फिल्म से को?
ये फिल्म देखने के बाद मुझको ऐसा लग रहा है जैसे वही पीरियड में मैं चले गया, और वही सब माहौल सब मेरे सामने नज़र के सामने है, और बड़ी खुशी हुई वो फिल्म देखकर, बहुत अच्छा लगा। और जो लेवल का फिल्म बना जो इज़्ज़त मुझको मिली ये फिल्म से, तो मेरा भी नाम हो रहा, गाँव का भी नाम हो रहा मेरे, तो बड़ी ज़्यादा खुशी हो रही मुझको इस।
Going back to that period of time has been such a joy to see, and I've loved seeing the movie, and I've also really enjoyed seeing not only the perception of myself, but also of my town just going up and being on this big platform.
Thank you so much, Nasir. And we're almost out of time, but before we go, Reema, this has a very large platform for this film being on Amazon Prime. And given that it may be some people's introduction to Indian cinema, what is your favorite classic Indian film that you would recommend to people watch after seeing this film?
Wow, that's a difficult one. But, well, there was a film called Jane Bhi Do Yaro, which was a personal favorite when I was growing up. It's incredibly funny. It's directed by this gentleman called Kundan Shah, and I would say people should watch that.
Fantastic. I know I will be on the lookout for it myself. And thank you so much for that, for your work on this film. And thank you everyone for your time today. It's really wonderful.
Thank you.
This picture, very excited to be interviewing Zoya Akhtar, the producer and the stars Adarsh Gourav and Vineet Kumar of Superboys of Malegaon. I want to start with Zoya, asking, when did you first hear about the subject of this film and what inspired you to make it?
At the first I heard of it was when I saw the documentary called Supermen of Malegaon, and I actually loved that film, and it was so charming, and it stayed with me, and that was it. I loved it. I recommended it. I read up a little about this guy, but 2 years after that, I met him. He and Shafiq were at a film festival in Delhi, the Ocean Film Festival, and we met there. And when I met them, and I met Nasir in particular, and started hanging and talking to him, is when I actually fell for the guy. And I'm like, there's a lot more to his life. We saw the making of Superman, but what about what makes him? And what made him make Superman was the story that we went after.
It's really wonderful that the in-person touch is what inspired you the most.
Yeah.
I love that. Question to both Adarsh and Vineet, but starting with Adarsh, had you all heard of Nasir and his films before making this film, and what was it like to be asked to do this film?
It's just such an incredible opportunity to be playing a character like Nasir, who is such a perfect embodiment of charm and wit. And I just feel like I'm incredibly lucky that Varun Grover, who's the writer of the film, we were actually shooting for a short film a couple of years ago. That was the first time he mentioned about this, and I read the script and I was incredibly drawn towards the story and also Nasir's character, and I just jumped at the opportunity. And I just feel like I'm so blessed to be directed by someone like Reema, who I'm a massive fan of. Zoya, I'm working with for the second time. I just feel like I'm incredibly lucky, and I of course got to shadow Nasir when I was prepping for the film. I got to visit Malegao actually, and just followed him around, met all his friends from his past days, and it was just an incredible journey.
And Vineet, same question. What was it like playing these characters based on real people, and did you meet them?
What was it like to work on a character? मतलब एक real life person पे कैसे, और आप उनसे कभी मिले थे क्या?
Unfortunately, I was not able to meet Farooq Jafri because he's no more. And but I heard so many stories of Farooq. He added one chapter in almost everybody's life who somehow related to Malegaon, this whole film industry thing and all. Everybody has a story to tell about Farooq. And about this character, it's very interesting because he talks from heart. There is no filter in him, and that makes him very interesting on screen In personal life, it's very difficult if you are a person like that. Whatever you are feeling and there is a sentence of that feeling, you will create lots of problem for yourself. But someone who is that stubborn, it makes very interesting on the screen. So I'm really fortunate enough to be part of this film. And I don't think a film like Superboys of Malegaon is going to happen soon again, because Malegaon is just one Malegaon in India, where the film industry developed by those kind of people who loved cinema. Someone was selling dates, someone is a journalist, and someone is doing nothing. Someone is showing picture of Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin. The love for cinema, and they did something incredible. And people will relate worldwide because the language of emotion is universal. And in today's time, it's very difficult to survive in this world, because everybody is fighting for something, not very big thing, for something, just a basic things. But this bunch of boys, they did some incredible things just because they never thought what is going to come in return. They just chase the passion. So if you have a dream, but somehow you left that for some reason, watch this film. There might be some spark left in you, and you can start again.
Really beautiful. Thank you. I know we're coming up on the end of our time together, but I wanted to add with Zoya for this question. You know, so much of this film is about the importance of community when coming together to make art. So what was the community like on the set of this film?
You know, I haven't hung that much on the set of this film. This is really a Reema question. I was more in the back end, but I mean, from what I hear, I mean, it's best they answer it. Others, you should take it on. But film is a collaborative affair. You know, no one makes a movie alone. And you can, sometimes when you see a film, you know that energy must have been great. It's one of those films, you know, the energy of the set reflects what you see on screen. And it's one of those films, for sure.
Yeah, it was just a big party on set, honestly. We were just like,
Yeah. No.
we just like all, we just incredible, you know, we had like this bonding exercise at a workshop that we did preceding the film. And we were just like crying, laughing, celebrating everything with each other. Like even before we discussed the lines, we knew about each other's personal lives. Like we started trusting each other very early on. And I feel like that was very instrumental in developing the bond between the characters, and was just such a beautiful process.
You can tell it comes across in the film. So thank you, Vineet,
Thank you.
Adarsh,
Thank you.
Zoya. Thank you for your work
Thank
on the
you
film,
so
and thanks so
much.
much for speaking with us today.